All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for subscribing to another edition of an audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm coming to you live again, where we'll be here all day at the DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware, and I am speaking to one of my favorite coaches. I don't care if they say that this guy is a celebrity, whether he was introduced. He should have, in my opinion, been a celebrity playing in today's game, because just a few days ago, this man just got a new job. I could not be happier. I'm very proud of him as one of my all-time favorite people in the world. Jeff Rafferty, former associate head coach of the University of Delaware, has now taken the job at NJIT. Jeff, how you doing, my friend? It's so good to see you as always, my brother.
I'm thrilled to be here. Playing golf for a great cause today, and also thrilled with my new opportunity at NJIT.
Well, how nice is it always to be talking with the one and only?
Oh, it's second to none, baby. Second to none. I've been looking forward to it all week.
I was going to say, you and I go back a long way. Our history goes so far back, as you know, we started again when you were an assistant at Delaware, and I mean, we go back to all the years from the recruiting days all the way basically back to when even the games at Delaware that I've attended in the last few years. I know you're on again a short time schedule, so talk about the new job. First of all, congratulations again, and how are you feeling about the job at NJIT?
I'm thrilled. I think the place is about to blow up. I just think it's a place that has so much. There's so much excitement around campus about the athletic department, about being in the Atlantic Sun Conference, which is an up-and-coming conference.
Because remember, this was an independent school.
Yes,
NJIT.
yeah.
They have a new coach,
Brian
Kennedy, who we happen to know very well through the Hoop Group days. His brother is Rob. What's the thing you're looking forward to about working for a guy like Brian?
Well, Brian's a great person, first and foremost, and then I think I can really complement his staff well. I'm just looking forward to hit the ground running in the next couple of weeks and really building something successful and sustainable. We have a $110 million arena and practice facility that will be open next August, and we're just looking forward to that. That facility will be second to none, and we're just looking forward to, as I said, building a winner and competing for Atlantic Sun championships.
Autism Speaks again, a great event, of course, to be at today. I know you got a lot of golfing to do, so let's get you do that. But how happy are you to be back here again, here in Delaware?
Love it every year.
Great event, great cause, right?
Every year, yep.
Jeff, it's always so good to see you again, my friend.
Thanks, boys.
Jeff Rafferty again from NJIT. I know he is the first non-celebrity to be talking to. Again, we're going to take a break. We're going to head back to the course again. Another exciting day for an audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm Jake Schwartz, here coming to you from the beautiful DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here again at the DuPont Country Club for another edition of Voice of Reason. I'm coming to you live again from Wilmington, Delaware, this beautiful facility on an audio edition. I'm speaking to one of my old buddies from the National Football League. I don't care what Artie Kepner calls you. I know that that's your brother's name, the Rocket, the Missile. I'm still speaking with the best color commentator analyst in all of professional football, is Baltimore Ravens former wide receiver and color commentator Quadri Ishmael. Quadri, is so good as always to see you again. Always a pleasure to have you on here.
Appreciate you having me on again, man.
You and I certainly have a great relationship. I remember actually because last year I was talking to your buddy when we were doing the Eagles-Ravens game, and he said to me, I worked the television with Quadri Ishmael. I said, I know Quadri. I love Quadri. Sorry, I love Quadri Ishmael. I know Quadri Ishmael. And then we said hello for a few moments. But season's obviously, you're getting ready for the season as always. How are the Ravens looking this year, and what can we expect out of them?
So you're looking at a team that kind of had an off year. Being 5-11 last year wasn't what they wanted, but I think this year it's one of those cases where they feel pretty good about themselves and the draft picks. And number one priority is to get Joe Flacco healthy. He's coming off an ACL tear, but he's tracking well, and hopefully they will be ready to go come kickoff.
Well, let's get the ball rolling again, as mentioned with today, the 15th annual Drive for Autism. You've only been doing this for a few years, and you were referred to by a good friend of Artie Kepner's, Brian Billick, who was, of course, the ex-head coach. What is the best part about coming back here to Wilmington?
Well, the biggest thing, I think, for Drive for Autism is the fact that you're given to an organization that, is about commitment to service to people who have this kind of rare disease, if you will. Obviously, it's not as rare now, but when you come to organization itself to really help out people who suffer and deal with autism and their families. And, I think it's really been awesome to be able to play a golf event that raises money for that service.
Well, our timer's officially done, but Kadri, as always, we appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. A pleasure to see you as always, my
Appreciate
friend.
it, bro.
Thank you. Thank you, Q. Always a pleasure. Kadri Ishmael again on another edition, an audio edition of Voice of Reason. We'll be back with more celebrities after this in the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. I'm Jake Schwartz, coming to you from the beautiful Wilmington, Delaware's DuPont Country Club. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another audio edition of Voice of Reason out here at the beautiful DuPont Country Club. I'm coming to you from Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm joined now by I'm speaking with one of my favorite pitchers of all time, and one of my neighbors, coincidentally, Joe Kerrigan, who I happen to know very well as far as both on and off the field. Joe, it's good to have you back here. It's great to see you as always, my friend, and What a perfect day, and just what a perfect event again. As mentioned, 15 years and counting here at Drive for Autism.
Yeah, it really is. This is my 5th year coming out, and I look forward to it every year. It's really a special date on the calendar. It's for an unbelievable cause. Artie Kempner, who does such a great job, is involved with this, and all the sponsors. I mean, it is one of the better charity tournaments you can attend all year.
It's been a little, I should say, let's go into your department, which is baseball. Last night, Philadelphia loses a tough one to Atlanta, who just happens to own the worst record in baseball. What an improvement in the last year. Is there hope on the horizon for this team?
Boy, a lot of kudos to the Phillies, because it's really hard to turn your whole team over and then come out and play well at the beginning of the season. And, of course, a lot of credit goes to the pitching staff, the young pitchers. They've assembled the bullpen pretty quickly. They found out their roles pretty quickly, which is really hard to do in the beginning of the season. Their offense starts to come along, and, of course, we know their position players. Most of their position players for the future are either in AA and AAA, and hopefully they'll be here pretty soon. But it is a fun team to watch again. After having been almost unwatchable the last 2 years, people are starting to talk about the Phillies again.
Now, what are you doing with yourself these days? I know you're still working in the broadcast circle. What is the latest stop for Joe Kerrigan?
The golf course. I play a lot of competitive golf.
I know you do a lot of that stuff.
I have a lot of fun. Occasionally do a little radio and TV, and basically just enjoying life.
Can I ask what
radio stations in Philadelphia? Okay. The Fan and WA.
Yes, of course. Joe, a pleasure as always to see you again. I should say neighbor, actually, because he and I live right around the corner. You Bluebell, me in Fort Washington. Joe Kerrigan, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again for coming out. The Drive for Autism, 15th Annual Drive for Autism. Again, that's former Philadelphia Phillies coach and analyst Joseph Kerrigan here at the audio edition of Voice of Reason, the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. We're going to hopefully have later on today the owner or founder of the Drive for Autism, my boss, my mentor, my friend, Arthur Kempner, hopefully later on today. Until then, this is Jake Schwartz for another audio edition of the new high school and college sports show, Voice of Reason. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back here again outside the beautiful, state-of-the-art DuPont Country Club. I'm speaking with a good friend of mine, I should say, who was a 1984 Olympic gold medalist, I believe in swimming, if I am correct about that. Miss Teresa Andrews, welcome to Voice of Reason, and it's so good, as always, to see you here in the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. What can you say about today?
Beautiful day, beautiful cause, right? 15 years of being able to help the kids in Delaware and the autism community, so awesome day out here.
Now he started about 20-something odd years ago with his wife Marcy, and Marcy was very involved in this in autism. And he didn't want to be a part of this. So when she dragged him to the chapter of Newark, that night he was named chapter president of Newark, and he's really come a long way putting something like this together. So what does it mean for someone like you to come out here and play this beautiful game called golf?
To watch the growth of the Delaware Autism and be here to see how many folks come out to contribute, it's amazing. And to see what Artie and Marcy have done is also the growth has been amazing.
Now, tell everybody again, I know that I get to speak to you from time to time, but tell everybody what you're doing these days, where you're living.
I live in Wilmington, Delaware.
You live right here in Wilmington.
I do.
Very
I do.
nice.
I won 2 gold medals in 1984.
Yes, you did.
And now I'm a director of operations at Humana Healthcare.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
How's that going, though?
I love it. I love it.
And you're going to enjoy, how's the scores going so far?
We're having a fun time.
That's what's fun. Teresa, pleasure to see you as always here on another edition of Voice of Reason. Enjoy the day at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism.
Thank you.
All right, we're back here again outside the DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware for another audio edition of Voice of Reason. And I'm speaking with one of my favorite Philadelphia Eagles and former coach at St. Joseph's Prep, because his son, who is now taking in his father's footsteps, Mr. John Runyon. John, it's so good to see you again, and it's great to have you back. The 15th Annual Drive for Autism. What a perfect day.
It is, and especially being around here, we haven't seen the sun in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, that
so
really,
it's about time.
Absolutely, I'm definitely for that one myself. Now, these days, I hear you're doing a lot of political stuff. Are you still currently? Are you still in office, or are you no longer doing that?
Been
anymore?
out for about a year and a half.
For some reason, I forgot that. I apologize about that on the part. What are you doing with yourself though nowadays?
Keeping myself busy, staying out of trouble, watching a lot of Michigan football, and trying to get the 2 younger kids moving towards athletic careers in college.
I spent a lot of deal, by the way, talking with spending a lot of time with your oldest, John Daniel, who had a great high school career for Gabe and Fonte. What was the best part about playing at a school like St. Joe's Prep?
I really think that just the opportunity to play for someone like Gabe, who's brought a lot of experience, specifically from the North Jersey kind of Catholic League thing, and brought that down to Philadelphia region, and frankly got 2 state championships out of it. So really, to get that off his chest in his first few years, and really, set the template on how to play football there at St. Joe's Prep again.
Well, let's talk about the relationship that you have with the man who started this whole thing. 15 years in the making, Artie Kempner, and his lovely wife, Marcy. Your thoughts on them?
No, I mean, Artie's always been awesome. You talk about being on the field before an NFL game and Artie being down there smiling, glad handing everybody. And I called him a mayor this morning. He didn't see me walk in because he was too busy shaking everybody's hand. So that's who Artie is.
John, a pleasure as always to see you. Mr. John Runyon, the former offensive lineman of the Philadelphia Eagles, still one of my favorite, by the way, players I've ever watched, and also somebody I've had a good relationship over the years in the high school level. This is, again, an audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm Jake Schwartz. Again, want to thank our 2 latest guests, Teresa Andrews and John Runyon, on the new high school and college sports show, Voice of Reason. This is an audio edition, and I'm Jake Schwartz. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another audio edition of Voice of Reason, the new high school and college sports show. And back here, I'm coming to you live from DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware, on a beautiful sunny day and the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. This race, or I should say this event, features some of the best NASCAR drivers in the world. We happen to have one of them right here with me, one of my favorite NASCAR drivers to watch, and probably one of Artie Kempner's favorite people to piss off. And I apologize for using that language, by the way. Apologize for the cussing. Elliot, great to see you. Elliot Sadler again, great to see you again back here at DuPont Country Club.
Glad to be here, and before you ask me a racing question, if my guidance counselor would know I'd be on a show that's Voice of Reason, it's kind of blown out the water for me to be on a show like this. But thanks for having me again.
It's my pleasure, and it's always great to see you, and you and I certainly have gone back to all the years that I've ever been here when I've interviewed you. Talk about this event itself, and we saw a great tribute, by the way, on Steve Burns, I believe, the great NASCAR race announcer. What was that like, losing him a year ago?
Well, it brought tears to my eyes. I mean, Steve and I were close friends. A lot of people don't know this. When I first came on the scene in 1996, his wife Karen was my PR person, and I'd moved to Charlotte away from home. And Karen and Steve actually were kind of like my parents, a home away from home. So Steve and I had built a close relationship, and we did 12 years of TV together on Speed and Fox Sports 1, and such a bad loss for the community. Such a great guy. I feel so sorry for Karen and Bryson, but to see Bryson today on that video
brought tears
screen
to your eyes,
definitely brought tears in my eyes,
and
for Artie to win that particular award is very deserving. Artie just such a great man, very passionate.
So I was just
leads
about
by
to ask
example.
you
Yeah,
that question.
he's a great man.
Yeah, him and Marcy have done a lot of work together. Last question again, because I know you got some stuff you got to take care of. The big race coming up this weekend, Dover Downs. What can we expect this weekend?
Well, this weekend's a Dash for Cash race, man. So we're racing for a bunch of extra money. And we want to be a part of the Dash for Cash. So it's heat races, which is a lot different for our sport. So we have another round of heat races this weekend at Dover for the Xfinity Series.
And it's personal too, because your brother, I believe, has a child with autism.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
So I know you take this.
My niece Haley is affected by autism.
I know you take this stuff very personal.
Of course we do. So to see everybody here today supporting autism awareness is very meaningful to me and my family, and we can't thank everybody enough. And it's a beautiful day we've been blessed with, and we're going to go make the most of it.
Elliot, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for supporting Voice of Reason.
Voice of Reason.
You are the first person, by the way, to support this show. I want to point that out. Elliot Sadler again, NASCAR legend again, here on an audio edition of Voice of Reason. More guests again, as mentioned, to follow here on the new high school and college sports show, Voice of Reason, here at the magnificent DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm Jake Schwartz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here again on another audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm standing here outside of the DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware, and it is my pleasure to bring in NASCAR driver number 2, one of the world's famous and probably one of my all-time favorite drivers, Double K, Kasey Kahne. It's good to have you here again. Kasey, how you doing? It's great to have you back here at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. What a gorgeous day again we're having here today.
Yeah, it's a perfect day. I haven't been here the last 2 years, and wanted to come back.
Good to have you back, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, good day of golf, and I'm playing with Mark Butler and the guys from Ollie's at Bargain Outlet, so we're having a good time, and these guys are really good.
Really?
Yeah, they're good.
They're competitive. They take, these guys take this stuff very, very seriously, though. But let's. I know that we're on a little bit of a time limit, so we'll make this as short and sweet as we can. First off, Artie Kempner. I know words cannot describe how much respect you have for him and the work that he and his wife Marcy have done behind the scenes of the last 15 years, right?
Yeah, they've done a great job with the autism golf tournament, with the autism race at Dover. I see, Artie all the time at the other races as well. So he's a huge part of NASCAR and the cause and what they work for. They do a great job with. So it's nice to be part of that, and nice that he gives us all the opportunity to be part of what he's working hard to help.
Let's talk about that big race coming up this Sunday, Autism Speaks 400. We know how personal it takes, because there's a lot of people in your family as well. I met in the NASCAR family that are affected by this horrible disease. So it is personal. I know I've talked to a lot of people about that. What are we expecting this weekend?
I'm hoping for a good race. Looks like some rain tomorrow and Saturday, but Sunday the weather's going to be good, 60 degrees, and if the tire falls off and things, our car this year is so cool, so fun to drive. So I think it'll be a good show on Sunday and be able to pass and move around on the racetrack. And Dover's a tough track.
Can't get any easier than that. Kasey Kahne, as always, we appreciate your time. Good to see you again, as always. Kasey Kahne again here on Voice of Reason, the new high school and college sports show serving the tri-state area. Back here in another audio edition of Voice of Reason. I am coming to you from the magnificent DuPont Country Club here in downtown Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm speaking to one of my longtime friends and NASCAR legend, DW himself, Darrell Waltrip, who is a man who goes beyond long lengths in the Kempner family. Darrell, it's so good to see you here again, back at the Drive for Autism, and 15 years in counting. I know you've been coming to this every single year since this thing started. What can you say about an event like this?
Well, it's first of all, it's for a great cause.
Yes.
And we all love. I have 2 daughters. Artie has the boys, and I thank the Lord every day for my children.
Yes.
And my heart breaks for kids that have struggles, and because of tournaments like this and organizations like Autism Speaks, they raise a lot of money to do a lot of research. I think autism is something that maybe someday we can cure.
Yes.
And so that gives us hope, and so I come here every year hoping that this may be the year that we have that breakthrough.
And what is the relationship you have with a guy like Artie Kempner? Because I know it goes beyond great lengths. I remember a few years back I spoke to you about this, and you mentioned you have breakfast with him every Sunday morning before the big race. Is that correct?
Well, there's nobody in our sport like Artie. His passion, his desire to be the best at what he does. A great director. He gives us great pictures, and we tell him what we need, and he puts them on the screen for us. He's a great team player. He's not in it for Artie. He's in it for all of us. And the first time I met Artie, 16 years ago, I knew I loved him. He's a man's man. He's a guy's guy, and he has a great heart. And he loves this tournament, and because he loves it, I love it.
I would ask how much you had to drink, but I actually believe everything you just said about that. But again,
you might have a different story. You might have a different opinion.
No. He has been very good to me as well. But I want to finish this up. Last questions. I know you're on a time scheduled. Big race again coming up this weekend. I know you're still very involved. You are a commentator with NASCAR circuit. What can we expect this weekend at the Monster Mile at Dover Downs?
Yeah, this year has been unbelievable. I mean, from a very get-go at Daytona back in February, when Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. came across the finish line, the closest finish in the history of Daytona. Mm-hmm. We had that same thing at Phoenix. Then we had teammates kind of arguing amongst themselves. Carl and Kyle Busch, a little disagreement after the Richmond race. We've had Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano upset with each other. Tony Stewart comes back. Can he make the chase? Can he win a race? Just a lot of things to watch. But in Dover, you always go with the favorite, and that's Jimmy Johnson. You don't know whether he'd have won this race last fall. Kevin Harvick dominated, led 355 laps. He's going to be hard to beat, but I think Jimmy Johnson might be the guy that can do it.
All right, DW, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. That's Darrell Waltrip, the legendary NASCAR race driver and should say now legendary broadcaster here in an audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm Jake Schwartz again, coming to you from the DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware. All right, everybody, I'm doing an audio edition again of Voice of Reason, and we're back here again at the DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware, and I am here with one of my longtime friends, the pride of Havertown, Pennsylvania, Michael Mayock, who is now currently the analyst for both the Philadelphia Eagles and NFL Network. Mike, what's going on? It's so good to see you, as always, my friend.
Yeah, how about we got the only sunny day in the last month?
We really, you know what? I could not agree more. A lot of people have been complaining about that, though. Yeah. But nevertheless, though, we're coming to you from the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. I'm going to make this as short and sweet as I can because I know that you've got a lot of stuff that you need to do. How are you enjoying yourself? And I know you just talked to the great Artie Kempner. What does that mean to be back here again for another great year?
Well, Artie's one of my favorite people in the world, and he was the director on Thursday Night Football when I was the analyst, and we got to be great friends. I love his passion for the game. I love his passion for his family, and what he does with this autism tournament is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, 15 years again, as mentioned, and counting. But let's talk about, again, your sport. That would be the National Football League. Big draft night again for the Philadelphia Eagles. No surprise, the number 2 pick, Carson Wentz. What type of an impact could that have between both him and Sam Bradford, who just recently decided, you know what, I'm going to come back, I'm going to give it a go for the season?
I think the Bradford thing's way overplayed.
I agree with that.
At the end of the day, his interests and the Eagles' interests are aligned, which means that if the better Sam Bradford plays, the better it is for both entities, Sam Bradford and the Eagles. So their interests are aligned. I think it's all blown out of proportion. And I think the key here is Carson Wentz and his development. Sam Bradford's a bridge to Carson Wentz. And, whether it's 3 weeks, whether it's 8 weeks, whether it's next year, at some point it's going to be Carson Wentz's team, and I think that's pretty exciting.
You and I have a lot in common as far as, because last night I was just at the Narberth Playgrounds. I know you've got a lot of great history. We mentioned 20-something years ago, my good friend Dan Kazanicka went out and I believe recruited people like yourself. It's a shame that the Narberth League really isn't what it used to be, but how much do you take pride in being a part of the mainline type area?
Well, when I grew up, when I was a little kid, Narberth basketball was as good a summer league as anywhere in the world. And I watched Andre McCarter play there. I watched Mo Howard play there. I would go up in 6th, 7th, 8th grade and thumb it out of West Philly, right down Lancaster Pike and up into Narberth. Sure. And just to watch the games. And I always dreamed about playing in that league. And unfortunately for me, they changed it to a neighborhood league.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned that a lot to me.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to compete against the best. But still, that whole area is a wonderful area. It's a great place to raise kids. And I have great memories from Narberth.
Well, I'll be taking that tonight when I go back to the playgrounds. Mike, we appreciate you stopping by. A pleasure to see you as always on another audio edition of Voice of Reason. Stay tuned. We're going to have a special guest coming up next. We'll let you know who that's going to be here at the DuPont Country Club, the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. I'm Jake Schwartz. All right, everybody. Another audio edition of Voice of Reason here at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism in DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm speaking to a legend in the field of NASCAR, the legendary, and should say, a woman who is making history as in the making, Miss Danica Patrick. Danica, it's so good to have you here. What can you say? Another beautiful day and another great year for Drive for Autism.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a beautiful day, which is always nice when the skirt is not too short, too cold for me. You know, that's a good thing. But it's a great event, and Artie is such a great guy, and there are so many of us that would do anything for him, and I think that's really a big driving force in the turnout every single year. And then on top of that, it's obviously for great reasons. So we do whatever we can as drivers and as a NASCAR family to support each other.
Yeah, last question. Big weekend again at the Dover Downs. What can we expect from you? From what I was told from Darrell Waltrip, it's been just a great year of NASCAR racing.
Yeah, it has been a pretty good year of racing. A lot of action for sure. When there are offenders, there tends to be.
Yes.
But hopefully a great weekend for me. We have not had an awesome year so far, so it would be nice if we could turn it around here in Dover.
Keep enjoying the awesome weather, Danica. As always, we appreciate you stopping by. So good to see you again. As always, that's the legendary Danica Patrick again coming on the new high school and college sports show, Voice of Reason. Also want to thank my good friend and pal, Mr. Michael Mayock, for joining us. I'm Jake Schwartz again for another audio edition of Voice of Reason. All right, everybody, I'm back here again as another audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm here outside at the beautiful DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm speaking with my longtime buddy, NASCAR driver's own Ricky Stenhouse. And Ricky, it is so good to be talking to you again, as always. Another great year, perfect weather at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. What more could you ask for?
Right now, only more birdies.
That's what I knew you were going to comment about something like that.
Yeah, but the course is in great shape. Artie's done a great job as always. Organizing this event, all the volunteers and seeing the kids out here. The Drive for Autism, is a special event. This is my probably 5th year now of coming here. We're hitting the ball good. Definitely want to hit it better, but we're having fun. And, like I said, the course is in great shape. Beautiful weather. I wish the weather was going to stay like that for this weekend. It looks like it's going to rain Friday and Saturday. Should be dry on Sunday.
Well, that's kind of what the big deal is. Let's comment on that because I got to get you out of here. The big race at Dover Downs. I spoke with Danica Patrick not too long ago. She seemed to mention that it's been an almost perfect type of year for NASCAR. Would you agree with her on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've lucked out so much on the weather, and last year it seemed like it rained every weekend. So this year we've been able to plug along with no big issues with the weather. So hopefully we can skate by this weekend. Ricky
Stenhouse, a pleasure to see you, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism on another audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm Jake Schwartz. Hopefully we're going to have in a few moments another NASCAR great, Austin Dillon. Rolling. All right, we're back here again at another audio edition of Voice of Reason. It is another perfect day. I'm coming to you from outside the DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm speaking with my longtime NASCAR buddy, AD, or better known as Austin Dillon. Austin, it's so good to see you again as always, and welcome back to the Drive for Autism.
Thanks, man. I'm having a good time out here.
It's always, first and foremost, it's good to be a part of this, and it's always good to see you. I spoke to you earlier today around the breakfast time. Artie Kempner, another swing and another drive out of the park. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here at DuPont, and I'm really excited to be raising some money for a Drive for Autism, and they're going to be on the back of my car actually at Dover, so I'm looking forward to that.
I know I've asked a lot of people this, the NASCAR drivers and people in general. I know it's very personal, again, as mentioned, and because of a guy like Artie, whose son was diagnosed with autism, you've had a lot of NASCAR drivers as well, whose families, also their kids have been affected by autism. So I know you make this personal. What can we expect of the big Sunday and the big race? Because I know the weather's supposed to be kind of a hit or a miss. I know it's supposed to be sunny, though, on race day.
Well, Dover always presents a good race, and I'm looking forward to getting there. Hopefully we can keep this streak going of some really good runs at RCR, and I think we'll have a solid race car there.
Austin, a pleasure to see you as always, my friend. That's Austin Dillon. Also want to thank Ricky Stenhouse for joining us. Again, another audio edition of Voice of Reason. I'm Jake Schwartz on this glorious day, Thursday afternoon, here at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. And back here again at the audio edition of Voice of Reason. Yes, no video again today. It is all simply audio. I'm coming to you again from the DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm talking to my longtime basketball friend and a man that I go back. We certainly go a long way with, the voice of Delaware sports, even though I think he took my official slogan, because I'm the voice, I thought. I'm just only teasing. Mike Corey, it's great to see you as always, my friend.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much. How's it going?
Oh, life is great, and you're looking as well again as always. And I wanted to talk to you again about this event itself. Artie Kempner has done it yet again, 15 years and still going strong. What more could you ask for on a beautiful day like today?
No, it's absolutely great. I mean, you're absolutely right, too. I mean, that's the thing. Moved up a couple weeks earlier this year with the race in Dover being a few weeks earlier, and still another amazing day. I think it's even better. You know, I love playing in the spring and in the fall, you know, with golf, and you're not sweating too much, and you're having a lot of fun. But more importantly, raising a lot of money for an amazing cause with autism. And, you know, first off, I think, you know, just from the start of the day with his son Ethan coming up there and talking on the microphone.
That's the best part, I feel like it happens every year.
And I've been here for close to, I think, maybe 13 or 14 of the 15 years. And I remember him being up there way back, and I can just see the progression of what he's done, which is amazing to see. So you know how much advancement I think that they're making in this, and that's always important.
They've been making great progress for years. I wanted to talk to you about just 2 days ago, we buried a legend. I know you and I are huge basketball fans. Howard Garfinkel, who's probably one of the nicest and probably smartest individuals in basketball. What did he mean to somebody like you?
Oh, I mean, just so much. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know.
Did you ever meet him?
No, I never got a chance to. But, you know, throughout the years, I mean, you see these people and the ones that you kind of look up to, and you see what they've done, you know, in their careers and what it does mean. It's just, you know, there's so many legends, there's so many great people out there, and, you know, you hope to learn from them, and it's always sad when, you know, something like this happens.
Yeah, I mean, five-star cap was a big reason why we have the players that we have today. Mike Corey, pleasure, my friend.
Awesome.
Always good to see you. You know that.
You too. Thanks.
You are a delight as always. Mike Corey, enjoy the rest of your day again. That's Mike Corey again, radio analyst. He's never taken my title, but that's just I'm only teasing. Again, Mike Corey, the voice of Delaware, here and again at Voice of Reason's coverage of the 2016 edition of the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. All right, I'm coming back to you again from the beautiful DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware, and on an audio edition of Voice of Reason. And I'm sitting here with one of my all-time buddies who comes out here every year to the 15th annual, to the Drive for Autism, now again in its 15th year. They call him T.O., but no, he is not the same, not to be confused with the football player, Terrell Owens. They call him, he is NASCAR driver Trent Owens. Trent, it is so good to see you again as always, and I'm so glad to have you here on Voice of Reason. We've had interviews numerous times. You're first, by the way, here on the new podcast.
Yeah, it's it's always good to come to this tournament. I look forward to our season in general, but I always have Dover circled for this weekend. You know, I have a son with autism, can relate in a lot of ways to Artie, and it's amazing the things he's been able to do here in Delaware with the Power program. And you know, it's cool for me to see the older kids. You know, my son's 9, and
your son's 9.
Yeah, and so it gives me a little insight of later in life.
We've talked about this. I've actually asked you this on numerous occasions. I know that this weekend coming up is not just about another race. You've mentioned this to me. If I'm correct, it is personal.
It is, you know, and for a while now, the Dover event has been centered around autism and autism awareness, and you know, we have the car I work for is in Monster's hand now, Miles, and you know, my son's name is actually on the passenger side,
really?
On the roof this weekend. So yeah, RPM did a good thing for me. Really touched by that. So hopefully we can have a good finish on Sunday.
One more question again. I asked a lot of the NASCAR drivers this. I even had the privilege of asking one of your good buddies, Danica Patrick, who I can't believe actually came on. I was so excited about it. It's been a great year for NASCAR racing. How good do you think, how much better can it get with the weekend coming up in Dover?
Well, I think that our new aero package has proved to be good for the racing. I think we're going to take some more steps and gains. You know, the 1 mile tracks, in my opinion, like Dover, is our ideal size track. I wish we had more of them. So I think it's going to just be another product of great racing on Sunday. Be cars up at the top and cars at the bottom, all making time. So, we finished 5th here both races last year, so I'm looking for a good weekend.
Let's hope this game is as good as the golf game he has. Trent Owens, it's a pleasure to see you on another audio edition again of Voice of Reason. Trent, a pleasure to see you again as always. Trent Owens, NASCAR great, here on another edition of Voice of Reason, the 50th annual Drive for Autism. All right, here I am back here at the beautiful DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware, for the 15th annual Autism Speaks. And I'm joined now talking with my friend, my mentor, my boss during the football season, a man who has certainly come a long way and certainly is a dear friend of mine, the director of the 15th annual Drive for Autism, Mr. Artie Kepner. Artie, so good to see you as always, my friend, here on an audio edition of Voice of Reason, the new high school and college sports show. And Artie, I got to say, once again, another successful year.
Thanks very much, Jake. It's good to have you out here. We blessed with a spectacular weather day.
Yes.
And a great field of sponsors and celebrities. And, we do it for the people with autism and their families. And because of this event, we're going to be able to provide better and more comprehensive services for those people. So we're just happy that the day's been so successful.
Yeah, I wanted to actually talk with you about this event itself, the Drive for Autism, because it really all started, I was told, about 16-something odd years ago when your wife, Marcy, took you to an event in Newark, and you were certainly, from what I was told, you were unclear on whether this was going to be right for your autistic son, Ethan. That night, you were named the chapter president. How has that been going, I guess, since then, and how much have you tried to provide for Autism Speaks?
Well, we are Autism Delaware.
That's what I meant to say. Yes, Autism Delaware is correct. The chapter in Delaware, I meant.
Autism Delaware was started in 1998 by a group of parents, and Marcy said, we're going to go to a meeting tonight. We're talking about doing something. And reinvigorating the community and the autism community. And I went to listen, and at the end of the meeting, I ended up being elected president. And I looked at Marcy, I go, how did that happen? And fortunately, the two of us have worked together, and it's been a team effort, and not just Marcy and me, but a group of tremendous parents. And that's how this event kind of came to be. That's how our organization came to be, really, more importantly. It's taken a lot of people. It's been a lot of work. We've had just great success in the community down in Dover with the legislature and getting things done. And it's because it's a team effort. I believe in collaboration, and any winning team has to work together, and that's what we do here.
Yeah, and the best part is the celebrities and the look on the children's faces when they see these celebrities. And we've had a lot of great celebrities over the years. I've been able to talk to quite a few today, from Danica Patrick to my good buddy Mike Mayock, and even Kadri Ishmael, and just the support just keeps flowing on, and I think that's a great feeling about it. But let's talk about the where it all started with you lost a good friend about a year or so ago to cancer. What was that relationship like, and how great was it to see his son on this morning?
Well, Steve Burns was a great friend and one of our team members at Autism Fox Sports, and Steve, we're going to always miss Steve. We'll always remember him. He'll always be part of this event. He was always involved. He was always there for us. And he and his wife, Karen, are phenomenal. Karen helped us recruit a bunch of sponsors back in the day. And to see Bryson growing up, and just knowing that he's growing up without a dad, and his dad was a super guy, is really heart-wrenching at times. But for him to kind of talk about this award and for me to receive it.
You were filled with tears this morning.
Yeah,
I know it's hard. I know it's hard for you to talk about that. I don't blame you for
Jake,
that.
these types of things are, I got an award for a lot of people doing a lot of great work. And it has Steve's name on it, so it'll always be special.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that I've always enjoyed about you was just the relationship that you and I have had over the years. And I want to thank my good friend Scott Green for introducing you to me, because our friendship goes as far as almost 10 years these days, and I'm very proud of that. And I just want to always say that I'm looking forward every fall to be working with you in the NFL, and I honestly want to say I couldn't be more happier with the work that you've done. 15 years and counting, even though I like to tell these celebrities how much they've had to drink when it comes to you. I'm only teasing. Artie, we appreciate your time. It's a pleasure to see you again, my friend.
Thanks, Jake.
Artie Kempner, thank you so much again for being here, the chairman and CEO of the 15th Annual Drive for Autism. I'm Jake Schwartz again for another audio edition of Voice of Reason. All right, we're back out here again at the golf course here at the magnificent DuPont Country Club for another audio edition of Voice of Reason, coming to you again from Wilmington, Delaware. And I'm speaking with one of my longtime radio buddies from my days at 610 WIP back when I interned in 2006 from MMR. The legendary, and I had to put this down. I have to put you down as that, my friend, Casey Boy. Casey Boy Foster, it's so good to see you, and it's great to have you back here at the 15th Drive for Autism. Just spoke, by the way, with Artie Kempner about 16, 17 years ago. He becomes the chapter president of Autism Speaks Delaware. Boy, 16 years. What more can you ask for, and what work he's done here in DuPont?
Wow, go back 15 years. And by the way, thank you for having me on
You're
right now.
Absolutely welcome, my friend.
It's good. It's always good to be with you, and it's great to be with Artie. So 15 years. I'm trying to think of how many of those 15 years I've been coming, because I know I've been at MMR for 11 years, and so I've been coming here since my Y100 days. So it's got to be at least 11. Maybe this is my 12th year coming out here.
Well, I remember when I kind of met you really through my buddy from Bluebell, Chio. When it's Chio in the morning. Yes, I've known Chio. I've probably known Chio off and on almost 10 years myself. Is he still with the in the radio business?
He's still in the radio business.
I can't even believe I'm still saying that as well. But there's a lot of friends that you and I definitely have. But when you think about the people we know, the most important one today is obviously Artie Kempner, his wife Marcy, and their 3 children. The one who has autism. Ethan Kempner coming up today, as he does every year.
He's great.
Isn't that fantastic?
It is fantastic.
What he does? Now, what's been going on with you these days as far as the competition radio? I know there's been a lot of talk going around, between the music and the sports, and
I'll tell you what, we do what we do. We wake up every morning and we put on a show, and we try and provide entertainment for our listeners, and it's as simple as that. We don't really get involved in anything else.
I gotta certainly ask. I hear they're probably looking for some openings. Any shot I could get something like that, maybe?
Well, you got to contact Bill Weston.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, Bill Weston's the man to contact.
Can we talk about that afterwards?
Yes,
We'll definitely do that. Yeah. Casey Boy, always a pleasure to see you again. As mentioned, I hope your game is as good as your talk show, because I got a good feeling both are doing very well today.
Nah, my game is terrible.
Casey Boy Foster, good to see you, my friend.
You,
always a pleasure to see you. That's Casey Boy Foster again on the legendary hit show, WMMR. You can see, by the way, or hear every morning on WMMR. This is Jake Schwartz again for another audio edition of Voice of Reason. We have more celebrities going to follow. Our day again is winding down. It's been another exciting day here at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism in DuPont Country Club. All right, everybody, we thought our day again was over, but you know what? We just had to bring it on a special friend as I'm coming to you back here inside now, thank goodness, because it was absolutely, I was freckling like a banana outside as we're here at the beautiful DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware. Finally get a chance to talk to a good buddy of ours, the legendary NASCAR driver, Jeff Gordon. Jeff, how are you? It's so good to see you again, and it's great to have you here at the 15th Annual Drive for Autism.
Yeah, no, it's great to be here. My role has changed this year, not being a driver, but I'm with...
You're not a driver?
I know, it's shocking, right?
It is.
But to be with Fox and Artie Kempner, our director, I've been supporting him and this autism event for many years, but it takes on a whole new meaning now, working with him, with Fox, and it's great to be here.
15 years. This gentleman to the far right has done such an amazing job. I could not be happier. He even came on today, had the privilege to talk to him about when he started this about 16-something years ago. as the president, actually that night he went with his wife Marcy, who also, it's all about teamwork, and Artie could not have said it any better. It's all teamwork. The two of them have done a phenomenal job raising awareness for autism, as that night he was named the president of autism in the chapter of Delaware. So again, the work that he's done has been great. You've certainly been a big part of this, and I've had the privilege of running into you for many, many years. Will this continue at least for another 15 more years, maybe even longer?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, work like this continues until there's not a reason to fight for it. And obviously, autism is something that's serious, and a lot of people, want to make a difference in those, kids' lives and individuals' lives. And I think people like Artie and Marcy, they set the standard when it comes to what you can do to help a great cause. And, I know as long as they're here doing this, I'll be here to support it.
Final question, big race coming up this weekend. I've talked to all the NASCAR drivers that I can. They've all said the same thing to me. It's been a great year of NASCAR. What can we expect with this weekend coming up at the Dover Downs?
Yeah, I think just continued great racing. We've seen amazing racing this year. Multiple grooves, a lot of rubber laying down on the track. This aero package, the Goodyear tires that they're bringing, and the way the drivers are performing with it has been phenomenal. So certainly gives me a lot to talk about up in the booth.
All right, legendary NASCAR driver and now analyst with Fox Sports, my good buddy Jeff Gordon. Jeff, a pleasure to see you as always. And you know what? I want to say this as far as with Artie Kempner, you probably should lay low off because half of what I believe, I'm just kidding. Artie is, of course, the best.
Is he going to get something out of me up there?
No, I won't. Jeff, a pleasure to see you again. Thank you again so much for coming on. And Jeff Gordon again, our final guest here on another edition of Voice of Reason. We want to thank him for coming on and all of our guests. This has been a presentation again of the Drive for Autism, the 15th annual Drive for Autism. I'm Jake Schwartz for an audio edition of Voice of Reason. We'll see you at the games. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back outside here at the DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware. Thank you again for listening in on this podcast edition. Another gorgeous day again of the 15th annual Drive for Autism. I want to thank all of my guests again who have joined us today, from Danica Patrick to Michael Mayock to Joe Kerrigan to many great celebrities, from Olympic gold medalist Teresa Edwards, I believe, and many, many more. And I want to thank all the NASCAR drivers again who were able to join us here today. Mike Corey, the voice of Delaware basketball, also having the time to stop by. We were looking again for Bob Hound Dog Kelly of the Broad Street Bullies. I believe he was only here in the morning. But again, that is pretty much. We want to again also want a special thanks go out to our non-guests, the new NJIT coach Jeff Rafferty, the voice, or I should say the former assistant coach of the University of Delaware, and my mentor, my boss and friend. And you'll have to excuse me again, as mentioned, because that's the type of, as again, that car just literally, it looks like they're going to be driving that car. But sweet Jesus of Nazareth, I mean, Jesus H. Christ on a popsicle stick. I literally just jumped as soon as I heard that NASCAR, that car just literally as soon as they put that engine on. But again, I want to thank all of my guests and especially my mentor, my boss and friend, Arthur Kempner, for joining us again here today. I want to thank all of you for listening in for another audio edition of Voice of Reason of the 15th annual Drive for Autism. I'm Jake Schwartz saying so long from DuPont Country Club here in Wilmington, Delaware. We'll see you at the games.